EAGLES, Eagles.
Welcome in, everybody, to a Victory Monday on Birds 365, your daily deep dive into the Philadelphia Eagles, coming off a massive win this week. I'm Zander, Krause, joined by my co-host John McMullen, the number one Eagles beat reporter in town. Johnny Mac, how you feeling after a big victory for the Philadelphia Eagles yesterday, 28-3, Johnny Mac?
Well, you told me I got yelled at. Overreaction Monday. Let's do it. Let's do it positive.
Oh, I'm going to be overreacting, John.
This is the greatest team in the history of football. I think. That's an overreaction.
There you go. Johnny Mac, big win, though, at 28-3. And look, here's what I'll say, and we'll get your takeaways. We'll dive into the game, the defense, the offense. Jalen Hurts, they win again with A.J. Brown. Their record with A.J. just continues to get better.
Oh, he doesn't matter. Just run the ball. Just run the ball. A.J. doesn't matter. Run it.
Saquon had a big day, though, John. Hey, look, you blew them off the page, John. They never had a chance in that football game. And dare I say it, I'll say it again. I said it on the post game, and I'll be saying it all week. Bring bully ball back in the city of Philadelphia, Johnny Mac.
Well, you're picking low-hanging fruit there because not everybody. There's some logical people, but everybody's going to go with that because they want to run the ball. They always want to run the ball. It's forever 1975 in this city. Well, I'm just telling you, it's not sustainable. That's all. On one Sunday at MetLife Stadium, it was perfect. But it doesn't translate. There's no transit of property in this league. It doesn't translate from week to week. Doesn't.
Why do you say that, though? Because I look around and I look at the top teams in this league, John, and plenty of them are running the football effectively and often right now in this league.
Not like the Eagles do. Yeah, everybody's hyper-focused on the in thing. The in thing now is Shanahan, Kubiak. How many times have I talked about it on this show? How many times? So you look at the best teams. Hey, if you want to be that, go hire a different coach and be that. Go get a different quarterback and be that. And then we can have that discussion. You can't do that with this setup consistently. Can't play regular play action. So you run the ball. They run the ball to set up the pass. They don't, but they do it more than the Eagles. Those types of teams. So get that coach. Go hire whatever Kubiak is under Kyle Shanahan in the offseason. Go get a different quarterback. That's traditional play action. That comes out from under center, that's going to get the football out on time, and go change. But don't translate San Francisco or any other team or Detroit, most notably, any other team having success that way. Green Bay, don't translate that here.
What about the Ravens?
You got to play like them. Well, the Ravens are unique, and that's why I like the Ravens. Because the Ravens, you can try to copy what the Ravens do, but you don't have the explosion of Lamar Jackson, as good as Jalen Hurts is. He's a unique player that I wouldn't go trying to copy. I always compare, like my NBA analogies. Oh, you can go copy what Steph Curry does. Go ahead, go try. You can't copy what Lamar Jackson does.
I'm not saying you can copy him, but you can copy the philosophy of running the football.
Why would you copy the philosophy of running the football like Baltimore runs the football without the guy that makes it go?
Well, I mean, they got, they're relying on the offensive line. They got a great running back there in Derrick Henry, similar to we have here in Saquon Barkley. I mean, we had Mike Gillen last week.
That's what I'm saying. You're cookie cutting. The philosophies are not the same because the players are not the same. They don't run the same system because they don't have the same players. There's not an insult of the Eagles coaches. They do the best they can with the talent they have. And often it's very good. It's been very good for a long time, which sets up the expectations and the entitlement that thinks this kind of thing should happen every week. whether it's the New York Giants or whether it's the Detroit Lions, from top to bottom. It should be the same every week. It doesn't work that way. That's all I'm trying to say. They knock the pin down in front of them. There's a lot to that. And they did it easily, and they did it without sweating, as they often do, like with the Cleveland Browns. There's a lot of positive. There's a ton of positive from the defensive side, particularly. They got a fullback in Ben Van Sumeren who's knocking people off the ball. There's a ton of positive. All I'm trying to say, and there is no transitive property in this league.
I don't agree.
Because you did it against the New York Giants doesn't mean you could do this. And by the way,
the Giants defense was good coming into this game. They were a top defense. They were top 10 or top 15 in the league.
The Giants
lead the NFL in sacks.
Does the Giants defense play with the Giants offense? Do you not think there's a little frustration there? Do you not think, God damn it, this team can't move the ball at all, so I'm going to get out of my gap and try to make a play? Do you not think human nature plays into it at all? I swear to God, everything's in a damn vacuum.
I know, but now you're going to tell me because the offense scored no points, the defense is a sieve. The defense isn't a sieve. That's a solid defense coming into this game.
I'm not saying it's a sieve. I'm saying the snowball started downhill.
I get what you're saying.
The first quarter, the Eagles were awful again. The first quarter, again, they couldn't move the football. It was punt, 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 punt. And then they got the big play. And then the snowball started going downhill. They didn't dominate. But Devontae Smith caught one pass for -2 yards. That's going to translate. How do you think that's going to go for the rest of the season? Why would you want that to be the rest of the season as an Eagles fan?
Oh, you tell me all the time stats don't matter in this league. If we're building a team that relies on stats for Devontae Smith, then you're not.
No, I'm not talking about the actual number. I'm talking about the actual traffic, not being involved in the offense, and the success of Saquon Barkley. You go back 1 week prior, what were the numbers? I mean, the assumption that, he ran for 176 against the Giants and didn't even play the fourth quarter, so just do that again next week. I mean, you don't think that's silly?
I think when you have a top 5 offensive line, it's not silly. No, I don't think that's silly to say, I'm going to come in and I'm going to run the football down your throat and make
They didn't have a top 5 offensive line yesterday.
Okay, well, imagine when they do.
Yeah, imagine when they do.
Doesn't that prove the point even more?
No.
You're running over teams with Fred Johnson and Tyler Steen.
No, because the week prior, they had a top 5 offensive line. It couldn't run the ball at all for the majority of the game until Jordan went out. That's the point. Do you really want to go long and say, we can run the football like that with Fred Johnson and Tyler Steen? So, Jordan, take your time. Mekhi, take your time. Don't try to get through the concussion protocol. By all means, sit as long as you really want to go there. You really want to go down that route and think it's going to translate over a larger sample size, and that's going to be better football than when Jordan Mailata, one of the best left tackles in football, Mekhi Becton, obviously, learning the position, but he's better than Tyler Steen because he lapped him. I don't get it, man. I don't get it.
Okay, well,
they're playing a bad opponent. They took advantage of it. Gold star. It doesn't translate to anything else.
So you're telling me you watched that game and there's not anything you can forget trying to become a bully ball team like I will be calling for all week for the team to be. My call to the Philadelphia Eagles, play frickin' bully ball. You're telling me there's no gray area in the middle. You think this team can meet to do more of that to help their offense along?
No, I think they got to get better offensively to compete where they want to go. I'm not talking about beating the New York Giants in week 7. I'm talking about where they want to go. They want to win the NFC East. They want to be a significant contender in the NFC. And I'm talking about getting better so they can go where they want to go. And this was a positive step in that direction. It was not an identity game where you say, all right, let's scrap everything. Let's have Jalen Hurts throw the football 15 times because nobody trusts him, which is not possible, by the way. Even if you don't trust him, you're going to get behind. You're going to play good teams eventually. You're going to need to score some points, and you're going to have to be able to do some different things. Running game, part of that, not the focal point of that. Part of it, not the focal point of that.
I want to welcome everybody in this morning to Birds 365 with Zander, Krause, John McMullen. Appreciate everybody being here. Hit that like button this morning. We'll have 2 great guests for you guys. Jeff Kerr coming up. I'll see what Jeff has to say about bully ball. And then we'll talk to Chris Franklin in hour number 2. We're going to get into the defense right now. I want to remind everybody, a massive day from Saquon Barkley yesterday means a Philadelphia Eagles jersey will be given away to one channel member today. The link is pinned in the chat. We already picked up one member, Chan. Appreciate you becoming a member, Chan. Get your memberships in. We'll be giving away the jersey tomorrow morning on the after hours of Birds 365, 10 a.m. tomorrow. I'll be doing the drawing, the raffle for the winner, and we will give away that jersey, and I will order that as soon as I hear from the winner. So appreciate all of you guys. Get those memberships in. Johnny Mac, let's talk defense, man. 8 sacks yesterday. A pretty dominant performance. Now, I get it. It's the New York Football Giants, and Daniel Jones really stinks. But, I mean, they showed up, man. 8 sacks, 2 for Nakobe Dean, 2 for Jalen Carter, 1 for Nolan Smith, which, by the way, he's starting to really come along. He looks much better as a 3-down player than Bryce Huff. 1 for Bryce Huff, 1 for Josh Sweat, and 1 for developmental player Jalix Hunt. How much you taking away from what the defense was able to do yesterday?
Same thing, but I think it's more important for the defense because I think they're building up some confidence.
Yeah,
Obviously, they're so limited. That's what enabled, like I said, it was punt to start that game, I believe. So the Giants had it 3 times, the Eagles had it 2 times, and it was very clear that, the Eagles had some rope here. And eventually they'd get a drive going, and it happened on their 3rd drive. And the big run, that wasn't the big run. That was AJ Brown for 13 yards. But you could see it starting, and that ended up as a punt. And then when they got it back, it was the big drive. So the first quarter was just a nightmare for football people. I mean, it was some poor football going on, but you could see the Eagles finally moved it a little bit at the end of the quarter, and you could say, all right, eventually they're going to get something going. They're going to score some points, and the Giants were so limited. And when you talk about Daniel Jones, and he's part of it, but I mean, I think they had 4 yards rushing from their running backs in the first half. 4 yards rushing. So, I mean, they couldn't do anything. So you have this luxury, and this is what I talk about, that transitive process. You have this luxury of knowing, all right, you can stay disciplined. You don't have to, if you're down 14-0 to one of those teams you're talking about that do this so well, you can't do that. You can't stay patient. You got to try to get back in the football game. You have to play. It's a different style of game. You have to play differently. But the New York Giants are so offensively challenged. They could do whatever they wanted. They could stay patient. They could only throw the football 14 times and get out of there and win the game easily. So a lot of it is the style of the game. All games are different. Jim Sports will say all games have personalities. And this game was a personality that you could sort of just play conservatively and beat the brakes off this team. That's the personality of this game. And that's sort of what I'm talking about. That doesn't happen often in the modern NFL. With good teams, bad teams, and it doesn't happen that often. And the Eagles defense specifically, I focus more on that side because that's the side we know the offense is good. It's just a matter of how good, how well they play each week. Can they get it going early in the game? Can they figure out these slow starts? But we know the talent is good. Defensively, we don't really know that. And every time they have a game like this, even though it's the Giants, every time they have a game like the Cleveland last week, even though it's Cleveland, it gives them confidence and gives them success. A lot of young players. I think it's really important, more important for the defensive side.
Good stuff there. A lot of people on the sack. It was a sack party yesterday. Johnny Mac, a lot of sacks for that defense yesterday. And you're right. I mean, that Giants offense is inept. I took more offensively from the game. I think I appreciate what you said about the defense finding some confidence. I think the offense did too, though, in that game. I mean, they got the chance to sit on their ass in the fourth quarter and watch the backups because they handled business in the first three quarters. I felt pretty good about the performance. I was told all week it's an NFC East game. It's the NFL any given Sunday. The Giants have a good defense. The Giants lead the league in sacks. We blew them off the page, John, and I'm not taking nothing from it. I'll say that.
Well, that's fine. I mean, I would just say for the people, the woe is me people on the bridges when they're not playing well and want to fire the coach and say, I'm carrying the water for the coach. And then they get mad at me when I temper it and say, oh, beating a bad football team where the fans were fleeing in the third quarter is going to translate the same way moving forward. I mean, I'm pretty confident. I'm the one in the middle. I'm pretty confident. I'm the one that got the better handle on it. I'll say that. That is not going to translate to anything else than a Sunday in MetLife Stadium.
And I felt pretty good about yesterday, Johnny Mac. And I'm sorry, you're not going to take it away from me. I think the Eagles found something that they can stick to yesterday, at least to some extent, and build on top of that. Your quarterback is clearly not ready to throw the ball 35 times a game, John. I think that's very clear to anybody that's watched this team.
Now, you better be that's fine if you want to believe that. I criticize Jalen Hurts, and there are issues. And I'm not saying there's not issues. But if he's thrown it 14 times a game, yeah, that ain't good.
Give me 17 to 20 to 25, somewhere in that range.
Oh, my Lord. 17, 25, okay. 25 to 30, I think, is the wheelhouse. 17. Heads are going to roll, my friend. Heads are going to roll.
Why?
Heads are
from the organization, from the men upstairs?
Unless they win the Super Bowl. Unless they win the Super Bowl. And I don't think they're winning the Super Bowl throwing it 17 times a game.
Let's get to a couple Super Chats before we get to Jeff Kerr, who will come up in a little bit. I told Jeff 25 this morning because I knew me and John were going to have to break down the game a little bit. I'm surprised, John. You have nothing positive to take away from a big win over the New York Football
I just said a bunch of positive stuff about the defense.
I know, but nothing overwhelming. Let me tell you, I mean, you'd think we barely squeaked by that measly team. But I appreciate it. Look, I appreciate you being in the middle and sticking to what you believe, Johnny Mac. Let's get to a couple Super Chats here. Appreciate everybody in the chat this morning. Always good from you guys. James Carver checks in. J Mac, name the top teams at the moment and who's most expected to go to the Super Bowl. Lions, Vikings, Chiefs, Ravens, 49ers, all run the ball to set up the pass regardless of shotgun versus under center. That doesn't affect it. James Carver seems to be siding on my part of it. Johnny Mac, what's your response to that?
Give me the teams again. Besides Baltimore,
Lions, Vikings, Chiefs, Ravens, Niners.
All right. Well, the Chiefs have the biggest playmaker in the sports, So they don't run the football. The Chiefs are a little bit different, so I'll put them up. They have Patrick Mahomes. So
Yeah,
we're
it's
really
always
going to
different.
have this
No,
conversation.
I agree with you. The Chiefs got to be put on a different level.
Yeah. Ravens, same thing, unique style. 49ers, Lions, yes. Jared Goff, Brock Purdy, good luck. Vikings, Sam Darnold. Vikings are not a contender, but they're a good team. Super Bowl contender, I'm talking about. All play the same style. Again, I have no problem. That's the in style in the NFL. I'm more of a, as I say with Vic Mangio on the defensive side, I'd rather go with people that have their own unique ideas than copycats. That's me. Um, but that's the in thing in the NFL. If you want to run that, go get a new coach, go get a new quarterback. I have no problem with it. I'm saying it's not going to work with the talent you have in Philadelphia. That's what I'm saying.
We'll see. James Carver checks in again. James, appreciate the $20 super chats, man. That's 2 today. Thank you so much for your support of the channel. James says, J-Mac, no one's saying only run or run for 200, but they must run to set up the pass. And even you say, look at score and you'll see run focus. They got up 3 scores with only 14 passes. Then yes,
Yeah,
Smitty
you know,
doesn't get rid of the
everyone in
ball.
the NFL says, and even those guys, by the way, Kyle and the Kubiaks and all the Shanahans and all their mentees say the same thing. You pass to get the lead, you run to win the game. That's what they all say. That ain't me. That's coming from them. That's the modern NFL. That's what you want to do. You want to pass to get the lead and play from the lead, and that's why those slow starts are such an issue still today for the Eagles. Pretty amazing. By the way, for all the stat people, the most amazing stat for the Eagles is that they're 4-2 without scoring a first quarter point. That tells you what kind of talent they have on offense, by the way. It's amazing. They're 4-2 and they haven't scored a point in the damn first quarter. It's unbelievable. And it's not sustainable, as Nick Sirianni keeps saying. Or he does say before he got pissed off that nobody would stop talking about it. But yeah, Kyle Shanahan will say this and has said it. So, don't listen to me, listen to them. Kevin O'Connell, I know, says it all the time. So, yeah, that's not the way they view it.
James, appreciate the super chat, man. Let's keep rolling. A couple more super chats, then we're going to get to Jeff Kerr from CBS Sports. Vulnerable vitality. I like this. He checks in and he says, Quinyon, Defensive Rookie of the Year noise. I'm putting some of my chips in on it. The dude looks better each week against solid competition. What do you two think about him being in the top 3 of the conversation? You got to think he's getting close to that.
I think he's been unbelievable.
Yeah.
Now, I do think, and I haven't looked around the league, maybe when we get Jeff on, I do think he's got to make a little bit more, like if there's a few more interceptions, splash plays, I think to win the award. But I don't care about the award. He's been great.
Yeah. I don't either, but if you're talking about the award, those splash plays do go a long way. Yeah.
But as far as his production and his play, he's been everything they wanted and more. And he's only going to get better.
Yeah, no doubt about it. He really looks good, man. Really, really, really looks like a good cornerback, a bona fide cornerback one in this league for hopefully a long time. Good pick there. Hopefully he continues to improve. Quinyon Mitchell, vulnerable. Thank you for the $10 super chat, man. 2 from Brian that will roll through. Brian, appreciate your super chats, man. 2 $5 ones from you. We appreciate that. Brian says, people are acting like this was a breakout game. The defensive line played very well and took advantage of a bad O-line finally. And then he says, offense is still a 2-trick pony. AJ or Barkley, no matriculation down the field. Smith had 1 catch for -2 yards. Offense has to wake up. Johnny Mack, that's
all right, Brian, baby. Yeah, no, he's right. He's right. Yeah, it is. I mean, the AJ play is a perfect example of this. I mean, everybody's excited about it, and they should be. For some reason, the Giants single covered him on 4th and 3. But, on 3rd and 3, Jalen Hurts had 2 easy completions for a first down and just passed them up for trying to press the football down the field a little bit more instead of taking and matriculating down the field. Now, would that have been exciting? You never get to see the touchdown, the big play, and all that. No, so it worked out in the end. But the individual decision making, again, that we all talk about,
Right.
that's what's going to hold up long term. Are you going to count on a dumb defense double teaming everybody but AJ?
Yeah, right.
Hey, it worked.
Yeah, I can see the issue with that, no doubt. I mean, that was a bad 3rd down play there from Jalen. I'll tell you what, I mean, to give him credit, that was what a perfect throw that was.
Well, that's what I mean.
You're right. You're right. The decision.
That's the craziness of Jalen Hurts. You're like 3rd and 3. You're like, what the F, dude? Yeah. And then the next play, he's perfect ball.
I mean, that was as good of a throw as you'll get, man. Right on the money, on the run. AJ caught that sucker in stride, and
that's part of the frustration, I think.
Yeah,
it's like, where's that play to play? Because that's what defines the great quarterbacks, the play to play. Not, the Bradys, the Mannings, that they're there every single week.
Yeah.
Making good decisions, making big plays. So
yep, no doubt. Let's run through real quick. 2 more super chats because I want to get to Jeff Kerr. Jeff, sorry to keep you waiting, man. We'll get you in just a second. Prince checks in, and Prince says, thank you, brother. He says, we lost the Super Bowl because we didn't have a strong running game with the JAKIB stop it emoji from Johnny Mack. He doesn't want to hear it, Johnny Mack.
We lost the Super Bowl. How about the special teams? How about the blown coverages? Yeah, Miles got hurt early in that game. The Eagles had a tremendous running game that year.
Yeah, they didn't.
You got to get to the Super Bowl before you lose the Super Bowl. I can't believe how many people don't understand that. So, one, it's an amazing accomplishment, number one. Number two, there's a bunch of reasons why they lost that game. And one of them is Miles got hurt early. But later in the game, special teams, blown coverages, and then even the unforced turnover when the Eagles looked like they were really going to seize control of that game by Jalen Hurts. Yeah, come on. They lost the Super Bowl because of the run. Come on, stop with the run. Stop. The whole game of football, it's nice to have a good running game. You don't build a foundation in 2024 on the damn running game. Even people with great running backs don't do it. That's not the way you win.
There's some teams doing it. The Ravens are definitely one of them doing it. Real quick, let's roll through this because I want to get to Jeff. I don't want to keep Jeff waiting. Daniel says they also tells you that their scripted plays are trash, and Kellen does better calling plays off the cuff. I will say, John, what the hell is going on with the script coming into each week? I mean, holy mackerel.
Oh, now we're going to get on the script.
No, I'm talking about the first quarter
script. I would say look at each game. Watch it. Everybody can go on there.
0 points in the first quarter, John. Isn't that partly a part of the script? Part of what they come in ready to call?
They are getting behind the stakes on every first drive because of a penalty, because of lack of execution.
Or pass.
Every single, or Jalen Hurts taking a coverage sack. Every single. I don't know what the script is because you never see it because they're always shooting themselves in the foot. And Kellen will tell you all the time, clean operation. He's told the fans that a million times. Number one, don't go downfield. I don't even blame Saquon on the shitty field for slipping. That's not his fault. But all of a sudden, 1st and 10 turns into 2nd and 15. All right. Is that a shitty script? I don't know. Maybe they had the shittiest script in the world. How the hell would you know? When Grant Calcaterra gets loose for 13, 14 yards and you're like, all right, they're moving. And then the next play, Britton Covey goes for 8 yards on a bubble screen. And Cam Jurgens is 2 yards down the field wandering like he's looking for, a party in Nebraska. I don't know. Is that shitty scripting? Maybe. More likely.
I don't know. I don't profess to know either, but I will say this. Scoring 0 points in the first quarter through 6 games is a problem. You can't just take away 25% of
it. It ain't good. And the most amazing part of this team is they're 4-2. Forget about the first quarter, as you mentioned. That the whole goal of everybody in this league is to play from the lead, including the Eagles. And they don't score points early. And they're 4-2. That is, you want to take something positive? Take that, man. Because when they figure it out, they're going to be a problem.
No doubt. Let's get to a commercial break. We got a bunch more super chats. I will get to all of them no matter what. Don't worry. We will get to your super chats. Want to get to our man, Jeff Kerr, coming up next here on Birds 365. Before I do that, let me tell you about our great friends at BetUS. Go check out BetUS today and check out your screen. You can see the promo code YouTube150. That gives you 150% sign-up bonus on your very first deposit and then 125% on your second and third deposits up to $2,000. So go to betus.com.pa. That's betus.com.pa. Deposit less and bet with more at BetUS. They have the fastest payouts in the industry, 24/7 customer support, and they'll even give you your own custom account manager. So go check them out today and use the promo code YouTube150. We'll be back in 3 minutes with Jeff Kerr on Birds 365.
If you missed any of today's show on the JAKIB Media channel, listen to the podcast on your way home. Available on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify.